Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of Platform Podcast. I'm Mark Coutsell, co-founder of Platform.
And Stephen Whittaker, co-founder of Platform.
Firstly, I'm going to skip through this quickly because it does matter when people start talking about stuff in a podcast that you don't want to hear. But I want to say a quick thank you because we've had a real good reception to the first 2 episodes we've done. Talking shit about the story that brought us together and then the years that followed in opening Platform. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. We are going to get into things now with episode 3. We've talked about Platform and how we started. We're going to get more into our philosophies behind training, around nutrition, around lifestyle, and about life as well, really. I like to think we're some deep thinkers.
There's a little bit of wisdom that I think we've got that we can share, mate, and help, hopefully, others become slightly wiser too. We'll see.
Exactly. It's like that meme, that me and the boys sitting around thinking about thinking.
Thinking about thinking.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about thinking.
Yeah.
That'll get too far.
And I think that's a direction we want to take with this podcast. So this episode today is going to be about why the gym won't help you. Sounds counterintuitive, but I think this comes at the crux of what I don't like about the fitness industry. Maybe that was too far. It's not what I don't like. It's where I think the fitness industry lets the general public down. There's 2 sides to this. There's the way that you, the gym goer, thinks about the gym and how you use the gym. And then there's the side of the way that the gym actually supports you. And both of those interact with each other. And that's what we're going to speak through today. So we're going to break that up into, firstly, you, the gym goer, and then secondly, the gym itself.
There's definitely both angles to attack. Obviously, I think we see a lot of people in Platform, which is where this stems from, to give you a little bit more of an insight, which is a lot of people come to us when they've tried a lot of other areas of the fitness industry and failed. A lot of the time, those failings, due to some, I guess, things me and Mark we'll talk about on this a little bit later on, really kind of dislike about the way a lot of fitness businesses, the industry in general, online, in person, is kind of set up. It's designed to essentially fail a lot of people. There's also the other side of that then, which, whether that is from past failures, people's mindset around starting the gym, whether it's from marketing, from brands, online play kind of services that offer, the way that kind of things market in terms of getting you thinking about fast fixes, quick fixes, the way you've got to kind of approach fitness is completely wrong as well. There's both sides of that argument to look at. Is it the person? Is it the way that kind of like the society of the gym industry is in general? But yeah, that's kind of where it stems from. And we then I have to kind of delve into why that is to work out how we can best help that person and change that mindset slightly, upgrade people's mindsets, upgrade knowledge to stop people go around in circles. I think that's what we do a good job of that Platform. And we want to kind of share a bit more of an insight into how and why we do that.
Yeah, I think you made a good point at the start of that about how, because we see so many journeys in Platform, there's been somewhere around 4,000 people that have been through Platform in the last nearly 10 years. Well, 9 years, nearly 9 years. That was a lie, nearly 9 years. And last night we had a new starter in, first session. Yeah. And she said something along the lines of, you must have seen this journey so many times. And I laughed and I was like, yes, I absolutely have. And she was like, what? She asked a question along the lines of like, what do you see that like the person that starts doesn't see when they begin? And I was like, that is such a good question.
I know. That's a great question.
Because she was saying like she's been in the gym for years, but only ever done cardio, never really weightlifted.
Yeah.
And she was curious about like what it's like when people start that journey from scratch and what we see. And I smiled to myself and I laughed because it's something that we discussed in it, that I've seen thousands of people go through this journey. I've seen people say things to me on day 1 that day 100 they don't believe anymore. And I've seen people tell me they can't do X on day 1 and day 200 they've achieved more than X.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do a press up. I've never been able to do one. 3 months later, they're doing sets of press ups, warming up. I want to do a pull up. That'd be so cool. A year later, they're doing them like a full set of 5. Like, we've seen that whole journey. We've seen people, I'm just not a gym goer. A year later, like, are you still here? Like, we've seen all that journey. And I think for us, we have the benefit of both hindsight and foresight in that we've seen that many people do this journey. We know what it's going to look like for you.
Yeah.
And so we get to see both how we're going to support you going forwards and how that's going to impact you as you go through it.
Yeah. I guess there's touching points within that as well, isn't there, where we know we might have to intervene and kind of like steer that ship a little bit when people go off track. that's kind of part of the parcel with it for a lot of time. And I think that's where like the coaching accountability side comes in, which obviously I know we can probably touch on today, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think the fair point about that is that that's not just making people do more; it's also making people do less in that process as well.
100% a lot of the time, yeah, especially at the start of that journey.
Yeah.
You could, I guess we'll give the great man a shout out, Paul Bedford, in that as well. Like,
Yep.
we've done a lot of work with a very intelligent man, much more intelligent than me, called Mr. Paul Bedford.
Probably about equal intelligence to me.
Very naive Mark over it. Paul, probably, Paul's a nice man. He'd probably agree with that, just to not hurt his feelings. But yeah, he's a behavioral psychologist. He's done loads of work with like thousands, probably like
millions, I think.
millions of people
Yeah.
in the study from like gyms all around the world, on retention, keeping people in your business. Not necessarily keeping people in your business, but keeping people active. Up to and over a 2-year period. So we know like there's a lot of kind of little nitty gritty bits and touch points, but kind of hitting over 3 sessions a week in the initial 12-week period, the first 100 days, is actually quite a negative sign. If they're going 4 or 5 sessions a week straight away from the off, it lowers the chance. Whereas when you sit around 2 to 3 sessions per week in that initial 100 days as an average, obviously, and as close to that week on week as you can, there's literally up to an 80% chance with a few other touch points that you'll still be active in 2 years. And that's something that we obviously aim for at Platform. But you'll know yourself when we talk about the industry being a little bit broken, that is one of the reasons why people think they have to go 100 mile an hour like straight from the off when that motivation's there. And it's not using that motivation to create behavior change in terms of setting lifelong behaviors, which you can keep up, you can be consistent with, is the key thing in that, especially that initial 3 to 4 week period for me.
Yeah, it's critical for what, like you say, what they do for the next 2 years. So, first part of this, how the gym goer themselves won't change a life through the way that the gym goer themselves approach the process. So, example scenario: they've been to a wedding, they didn't like the outfit that they wore.
Yep.
They saw the pictures after the wedding, they didn't quite like the pictures. They know that they've not done the things that they wanted to do in terms of the health, the gym, the nutrition over the last few years. They go, right, that's it. I'm going to make a change. Disgusted with those pictures. I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
They start at the gym. Pitfall number 1, Steve. What would you say that is? They've started at the gym. What's the first thing they get wrong when they start that process?
I mean, yeah, that's a very good question. There's obviously
lots of answers to it as well.
There's a lot of answers to that. One I have just mentioned. It's thinking that they have to go 100 mile an hour straight from the off. They have to try and get to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. The biggest thing around that is probably they don't have any plan or structure, especially not over a period of time or a long period of time. They might have, I'm going to do that this week, or I'm going to get there. I've got this time, I can get there 5 days a week, same time every day. They start by trying to hit that straight from the off instead of building any kind of routine, set behavior, putting that in place straight away. Creating those habits is most important in terms of hitting the gym 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, that's worked well for 2 to 3 weeks. Then I might build on it from there. So plan is probably the first one. They don't necessarily have a set plan and structure of like what they're actually going to do. That you could talk about a plan in terms of even the start of that plan in terms of how many sessions per week they're going to hit, what that's going to look like, or the plan that they create around that. The behavioral cost of trying to keep that up for the initial period of time is too much that it just fizzles out over time. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the starting at 100 mile an hour, trying to go 5 times, trying to go 6 times, trying to get the steps, trying to get the water intake, cutting out alcohol, trying to hit the nutrition, trying to get to bed early, like all of those things, like you can't do it in day one.
Yeah.
And so people will start that process 100 miles an hour, get to the 8th day in, something happens that they didn't intend. They're now off track. They're now off plan, and that everything unravels very quickly. And the issue is the intensity that they start at. It's about messy consistency, not random intensity. That messy consistency of you've gone 3 times where you wanted to do 4, but you've still got 3 done. You've ate well 6 days out of 7. There's only been 2 meals where you ate them different to what you'd intended to at the start of the week. And instead of that taking you off track, you just carry on putting one foot in front of the other The next day you start again, you get back to the gym, carry on with your nutrition, get a little bit more steps. And it's that messy consistency of stumbling forwards rather than sprinting perfectly. And I think
100%.
that is the bit that undoes 99% of gym goers, particularly gym goers where they've been inactive for some time, particularly gym goers where the last time they were consistently active was a different life circumstance. Maybe they didn't have children.
100%.
They had a job that was a 9 to 5. They're now doing shifts. They didn't have mortgage stress. You know, like a lot of people that we train were active mid to late teens through early 20s.
Yep.
Life comes on top. They're now mid to late 30s onwards.
Yep.
They're a different person.
100%. There's definitely that category you've just mentioned there. I think there's also the category of, even if it's 4 or 5 years prior, even if it was like early 30s that it was last quite active, but maybe they'd built that over a period of time.
Yeah.
And then that's fell off. I think the other thing where people go wrong is they can remember what they was doing at that time.
Yeah.
All right, I was getting there 5 times a week. I was doing this. I was smashing that.
Yeah.
They come in to do session 1. Straight away, they realize how far away they are from that person. And it just throws them straight away. So like unrealistic expectations. But they've then probably gone through a bit of a cycle where they've tried that start, stop, 2 or 3 times. Obviously, you can go to the quote of, you know, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results is insanity, which is one way of looking at it.
Einstein, that.
It is Einstein. He's up there with you and Paul as well, isn't he?
Yeah. But no, go on. I'm not going to.
I spoke to a member in platform the other day, and I just want to make this point because it's relevant on the topic, the bit that we're on at the moment. I'll not name drop her, but she's been here for I think 3 years now, maybe longer. So sorry if I'm wrong. She'll know what I'm talking about when you watch this as well, if you do. And she, when I first told her a quote, we wrote it down together. We actually now go through it most of the time with most of the new starters. And she's got it in a little picture frame on her desktop. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Could be a couple of this.
Okay. It's a quote that I said to her in an initial consultation because she'd been start, stop. She'd gone around in circles a lot with her health. And it was a quote that we ram home in platform. And it's consistent imperfection beats inconsistent perfection every time. So inconsistent, I've done it wrong now.
Oh, I can't do this without reading it me off the page.
Consistent imperfection, we're aiming for that consistency, doesn't have to be perfect, beats inconsistent perfection every single time.
Yeah.
And she's got that writ on a little piece of paper. She has it literally in a little frame thing and it's sat on her desk. The fact that she's now been here 3 years, she's probably in the best shape that she's been in, I would argue, ever in her life. And mindset's completely changed, smashes the gym, keeps other people accountable, is doing incredibly well in terms of the shifts that they've done around children, around stressful work. Everything has kind of fallen into place for her, and that has been her mantra. There's been times where she's probably felt like giving up. There's probably been times where she's thought, I'm too far down the scale of imperfect at the moment. I need to pick myself back up. And there's been times where she's probably pushed a bit too hard. But in the crux of it, she's known that I'm just aiming for consistency, and that has been a goal. And throughout that whole time, she has made strides and strides of progress.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. And I think that quote sums up the messy consistency, not random intensity. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing.
So that's one side of where the gym goer goes wrong.
Yep.
Basically, trying to go too hard. The thing I'd say is as well, if you're listening to us say that people start in the gym and they go too hard to begin, and you think that we're incorrect, the question I would ask you is, how's that worked for you so far? Have you gone at 100% and stopped after 7 days to 3 weeks, and then had a period of doing nothing and then started again at 100% intensity and repeated that cycle numerous times? If you still think that that is the way that you should do it, you're wrong. Don't know how to finish that sentence, but you're wrong because you've already proven that it isn't working for you. I think there's very few people where that actually does work. It can work if there's an exit strategy, but you got to do that with a coach.
Yeah. Where
they'll guide you from starting really intense into backing off a little bit and maintaining a level you can slowly maintain, essentially.
100%. There's always going to be an anomaly. There's always going to be an outlier that's just gone 100% in. It's worked really well for them, and they're still going now. But they are very few and far between, and especially if you look at the I guess our marketplace as well is like Marco's just mentioned there, like people from the 30s onwards. Maybe if you are young, maybe if you're in your early 20s, maybe if you've got that time on your hands to go and drive yourself 100 mile an hour into the ground, I would still argue with you then, to be honest, that's not the right approach. Maybe it will work well for you. But for most people, it's definitely the incorrect approach.
The other side of that then is when you've had a successful start to the process, you've consistently been in the gym now for, let's say, 6 months, you categorically are now someone achieving the result they want. You've gone past just trying to start. The next pitfall you fall into is not allowing the brain, the voice, and the identity that you have inside your head change alongside the progress that you're now getting. So that's where we see people who are now 6 months in and they've been consistent, let's say 3 times a week for 6 months. And they'll still tell you they're not a gym goer. They'll still tell you that it's not going well. They'll still tell you that they're struggling and they're failing. And if you zoom out on that and look at, you've been in the gym 3 times a week for 6 months, you've never done that in your life. Are you actually still the person that isn't a gym goer? Are you actually the person that's struggling to achieve your result? At that point, no, objectively the data says that you're not. But it becomes a point where people don't allow their internal psychology to change and catch up to the person that they now are and not the person that they once was. And it's the person that they once was and the beliefs that they held is what got them stuck in that position. And they have to get to a point where they allow those beliefs to change and they allow the internal monologue to shift to the person that they now are. There's no amount of consistency and progress that you can make that if you do not change the psychology that underlies it and underpins it, that you'll be able to sustain it long term, because eventually that psychology will get on top of you. And you've got to challenge the way that you think about health and exercise as much as changing the actual behaviors that you do day to day.
It's a very good point, right?
Thank you.
I think that's a deep level. I think that's something where I think you've just said there, stepping back, reviewing it a little bit. It comes down to everything from the start, doesn't it? Like having that plan in place and like kind of what's next. Because it then very easily becomes like, what am I chasing now?
Yeah.
I'm now chasing this next goal.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
And they kind of lose sight of what that is and like, I guess what they started for in the first place. So yeah, there's a few different ways that I'd probably want to like kind of touch on that and approach it. One is giving yourself praise for the other things that you've achieved along in the way. That weight loss goal that you once set was always, in my opinion, a byproduct of who you are becoming as a person, of the behaviors. But we forget about that being the byproduct and that becomes the main thing.
Preach, brother.
So once you've achieved that, it's like, okay, complete the gym.
Yeah.
Go back to who I was before.
Yeah.
But it's not, you're not that person now. So that's got to change.
So on them lines, the person that you said before, who wrote that quote down.
Yes.
I had a deal with her on the gym floor that she wasn't allowed to criticize herself without giving herself praise.
Yeah.
Because she'd do any movement. She could do the best squat she's ever done, a new personal best. And she'd go, and then she'd go into some sort of negative thing.
Yeah.
Criticism is fine when it's warranted. Sometimes you'll do a lift that isn't flawless and there's something you can change, but it doesn't take away from the effort that you've put in, the attempt that you've given, especially if that's against your psychology saying, I probably can't lift this, and you do it anyway. And more often than not, it's probably been done to a much better standard than you think if you are of the persuasion where you allow your brain to speak negatively to you. So with this person, I said to her, you're allowed to criticize yourself only if you bracket that with praise. And that's what she started to do. So she started to say like, that was a really good squat because, however, I didn't like this, but it was really good because.
Yeah.
And I was like, good, we can have that conversation in that frame. But when you were just doing a really good squat and then came away and said, oh, that was crap because I'm like, nope. And then she actually got to a point where she'd do a movement, she'd go to criticize herself, she'd open her mouth and just go, and just close it. And then I would look at her and she'd go, nope, I'm not going to do it. And she was going to criticize herself.
That's cool.
But that bleeds into other areas of your life. And I think it's worth saying here that our mission statement as platform is empowerment. We want to make health and exercise welcoming, simple, rewarding, and fun.
Correct.
And in order to actually empower someone, the way we think of that is we have to give someone the skills, the knowledge, the tools, the belief in order that they can do this process anywhere without our help. However, we want them to have that much fun doing it in platform that they stay here and do it with us. What we are against is the places that will scream and shout at you and bury you into the ground. They'll make you live off Tupperware. and train 6 days a week, of course you're going to lose weight. But what happens at the end of that program? You've done your 6-week thing, your 12-week thing, you go back into the wild. What happens then? If you haven't changed the way that you think about health and exercise, if you haven't upgraded your identity of who you are, and if you haven't actually learned the skills of how to use the gym or adapted the behaviors that they need to sustain that result long term, then you are just going to go back to square one. And so for us in platform, our goal is empowerment. Make you become the person that can get the result, sustain the result, and do this process anywhere, but hopefully have that much fun with us. You want to stick around and do it here.
100%. And I think, sometimes further down the line, it becomes that challenge where we've literally had conversations with members where it's like, in the nicest possible way, I think you're ready to fuck off somewhere else. Go to a normal gym, try it. That was the thing you were terrified to do when you started with us here at Platform. Like, go give that a go. But yeah, obviously, and members do stick around sometimes, I would argue, for too long, where they feel comfortable because they love it here that much, but they're probably ready for a different challenge.
I don't know if we've ever spoke about this, but on that lines, I always think to myself that when someone leaves platform and goes to a new gym, that's when I'm really happy. It's when they leave
100%.
platform and do nothing, that's when it upsets me.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Because we have, obviously, sometimes life things happen, circumstances happen, people change jobs, they move house, something goes on, they stop coming to the gym for a few months. That then lingers on a little bit, 6 months, 9 months. And we have that conversation where they, hey, Steve, it's me again. Like, all right, okay. Back where I was at the start.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. But, and I think they know what they need to do, but obviously the support here works well for them. So they come back, we get them back on that kind of route and road again. But yeah, I feel like you've just mentioned it there, getting back on track in terms of where we are. It is that, like, it's when we've talked about like starting 100 mile an hour, starting 4 or 5 sessions a week, straight away you're not thinking of identity. You're not thinking of who do I want to become. You're probably not even thinking of like longevity as well. I think most people see the gym as this thing where they can use it as a tool to get in shape. The gym is this thing where it's a tool where you can completely upgrade your life in terms of your mindset, the way you approach. Like Marco just said there, if we start talking more positively about our things we're doing in the gym day to day, that spreads and spills out into the rest of your life. And that can be a huge thing. Empowering yourself, giving yourself praise when you need to, celebrating the little wins along the way, like all those things are massively important, and people forget that because they have this one goal at the start and they're not thinking of it as a lifestyle change. And I think that's probably one of the biggest areas where people fail themselves straight away. It's from committing to this challenge, from making this a lifestyle change, like who is the person I can truly become as a part of this journey? And I think that's the big statement that we need to work on. Something that I like to ask, it's a question at the start of everyone's journey at Platform, is like, who is future Stevie in 6 months? Like, what have we achieved in that time? Okay, if we achieve that weight loss goal, what does that do for you? Why is that important for you? Okay, well, I'll be a more confident person. How will that benefit your life? Oh, well, maybe I'll finally push for that promotion at work. Maybe I'll finally go and do this. And that's where the other areas of your life just really, the gym starts snowballing for you, and it becomes this tool that's helped you become successful in every area of your life, not just achieving this weight loss goal.
Yeah, I think the most potent use of the gym is how it bleeds into the rest of your life, and you've got to allow it. You've got to allow it to happen. I'm going to finish this section with a story of an old member, and as I start telling this story, you'll know who it is. And I also know that she's been listening to this podcast, so it'll be interesting to see if she realizes it's her. I look forward to the message if it is. There was a member we had who was terrified at starting the gym. They've been through some personal challenges. I think they found themselves in quite a low place in life. They started the gym, petrified, literally shaking the day they first came in. Sort of got into the rhythm, got comfortable in platform, got into the feel of training, and you started to see them become the person they used to be, probably. Obviously, I didn't know that earlier person, but more sparkly, more bubbly, more confident. We had a conversation one day where she said that she was terrified at the thought of wearing a pair of shorts, but she felt confident enough in platform that she reckoned that she could. So she was like, do you mind if I wear a pair of shorts? I was like, of course you can. So we organised this certain session where it was going to be a little bit quieter than usual. She came in, she had leggings on, and we looked at each other. She was like, I brought them with me. She's like, can I put them on? I was like, of course you can. So she went in the changing room, she went and put her shorts on. She came back out, and I remember again being absolutely terrified as she walked out. By the end of that session, she was fine. She'd realised it wasn't as big a deal as she thought. She felt more confident. She felt more comfortable. She carried on through the process of being in platform, training, getting stronger, getting fitter, challenging herself to do things like the platform games where she would never have thought about being able to do that a few months prior. Not only did them, did really well in them, and started to realise that actually I'm much more capable than I thought I was. She had a job, I think, as like a secretary somewhere, like a receptionist, I think it was. She, through the fact that she realised she was more capable in the gym, started to wonder where she was more capable outside the gym. She applied for a similar role, but in a different company. So moving, I don't want to give too much away, but moving into law. You know who it is, don't you?
Yeah.
Moving into law. She then started off there as a receptionist. She saw a paralegal job. She thought, fuck it, I've got this far, I'll try it. Applied for that, got that. And she's now actually attending court and working on cases and working in law, all the way back to the person who first walked in platform terrified, really gone through some challenging life things, to now really pursuing a really powerful career that she's pushed herself to get into purely because of the things that she learned about herself through the gym. And I always think that's such a powerful story.
Yeah, incredible. And it's not like a story on its own either, is it?
No,
So,
I've seen it. And that's the foresight and hindsight thing we get from that question I had last night off that
yeah,
November.
100%.
We've seen this journey literally thousands of times.
It's really interesting, isn't it, when people first come in the platform and the journey, because I don't know that person. I know very little about them at that point. They know very little about me. They know very little about the gym. Sometimes we might go on that journey for a month. Over times, it's years where people stay along that platform, and like you really get to know people. You really get to delve in. You really get to challenge them, have a laugh with them on the gym floor. And yeah, you do. You know, like we've said, it spills out to other areas of their life that they share, and they share wins, not just inside, but outside of the gym. People come and telling us they got promotion at work and they've got a new job, and, you know, they've managed to conceive, and all these kind of different life things that are like huge that are kind of part of that journey at the gym. And yeah, obviously that's, I guess, where for us as coaches, business owners, that's like where you get that bit of a buzz from, and
Yeah,
like, this is
absolutely.
why I'm doing it. And obviously they know that's, like Marco said, that's our foresight. When these people come in, I might not know them at the start, but I'm also excited because I know like what this journey could look like for that person, and it's really cool. And I don't think they know it at the time what that can spill out into, but yeah.
Right, we've already gone to the amount of time we wanted to for this episode. So
Yes.
let's wrap this up with the final bit of how the gym lets people down.
I think we've probably touched on a lot of those areas, to be honest, in this, as much as we've not concentrated on that. One thing that I come across some point last year, I'm not too sure when, we was looking a little bit into it of like, what's our active member rate? How many members train at platform actively? And that's generally sits between like 95 to 100%, depending. I guess 95 to like 98. The 2% are either on holiday somewhere, or we're on the phone trying to give them a kick up the arse and get them back in the gym, one or the other. But there's some local gyms, commercial gyms, that have honestly 6 to 7% active member rates. That means the people that out of the people that are paying to attend that gym month on month, only 6% of those people are actually attending, which is pretty horrific. And yeah, I think that's the first port of call with that is no support, no idea like kind of where and what to do in the gym from speaking to people. And yeah, no guidance on, again, like how to actually start that journey and what that should look like.
I think you can go more foundationally into that the big commercial gyms, business model is set up to see you fail, because for a lot of those big commercial units, like a Pure Gym, they might have 10, 15,000 members.
Yeah.
If 15,000 members attended in that week, they are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, they can't have more than a handful of percent coming each week.
Yeah.
So they rely on what they call sleeping members. If you're only paying 20 quid a month, it's easier to forget about that payment going out and not cancel it. And during COVID, when the lockdowns happened, all the sleeping members woke up and cancelled, and it put the fear of God into a lot of these places. But unfortunately, 5-6 years removed from that now, it's gone back to that way where they're relying on sleeping members again. So the difference, I think, is the flawed model they have is that they rely on the fact that people pay and don't use.
Yeah.
Whereas we're the polar opposite. We're set up for, we want you to pay and extract every bit of our service out of us.
Yeah.
We manage the amount of people and the session flow that we have so that firstly, even when it's full, it's not busy. That's what we aim for. That even when all the sessions we're delivering are full, you still get the experience that you should in terms of time with your coach, the actual coaching that you get, the experience in terms of being able to, chat with other people, have a laugh, the atmosphere, the energy. We firstly manage that, which walk into a pure gym at 5 p.m. Good luck trying to get on a bench press on a Monday.
Yeah.
But
And that's 6% of Pure Gym's members there.
yeah,
That's not even half.
yeah,
Most of them.
yeah. That it's flawed from they want to see you lose, whereas for us, like we want to see use it as much as you can. We manage the amount of people in the service in total and the amount of people who come daily so that you can extract every ounce of our support out. The PT sessions, the larger group training, the nutrition support, the workshops, the events, like you use all of it. That's what we want. We want everyone to use all of it. We don't want anyone not attending. And I think firstly, that is where it's got to start in terms of where
the model has to be set up, right? Which for most of them aren't. Same, I think Marco mentioned it a little bit earlier in terms of exit strategies. I'm not fully against aggressive dieting. I'm not fully against, aggressive periods within your training where you really push yourself. I am against it when there's no plan or strategy involved in that, where there's an exit at the end of it.
It's just going hard for hard's sake.
Just going hard for hard's sake. So there's a lot of gyms set up like that where it's come and get great results for 6 to 12 weeks. And then they'll just ship you off and send you on your way. Obviously we don't have those conversations on the phone at the start. It's not what we do. So yeah, there has to be something there at the end of it. And I think that's it, where that model, that foundation has to be set up to support people on it long term. And it isn't.
I think the thing that connects to that same thing is that the way that PTs work inside a commercial gym is that they pay rent and then fight each other for clients. The classes that they deliver then they're forced to do as part of the rent that they pay, which means that they don't want to be there. And the clients they are fed from the gym if they are actually supplied via the gym's sales process. They're getting a cut off. They're not getting the total amount of money for. Again, you then got a scenario where you've got, say, 6 PTs in a unit. They're all fighting each other for clients. It's a very toxic, bitchy atmosphere. More often than not, there's very few places that get that right. They are getting underpaid for the clients that are supplied by the gym, so they don't want to coach them, and they probably aren't giving them the full energy that they should. And then the classes that they deliver, the larger group training, they don't want to be doing it. They're only doing it because they're obligated to in order to be allowed to stay in that building and train their own clients. And so that's done subpar. Whereas in platform, all our team are salaried. Everyone earns a wage. Everyone trains everyone. So no one's fighting anyone in here for a client. Everyone who comes to platform is supported by platform, top to bottom, right the way through. So it creates an environment where the coaches genuinely just work with each other to see each other succeed. They share information. They pull each other up on standards. They literally are being paid to be the best coach that you can. And that psychology shift is completely different to trying to get a one-to-one PT in a pure gym or in a little independent unit. When you come into platform, you get the full support of the whole team who are salaried, who want to be there, who we make a lot of effort to try and, have a job that the environment that they work in and, the way that they work is enjoyable, fun and rewarding. I guess it's funny enough. That's our
ethos through across the board.
Yeah.
Members to the team. That's right.
Yeah. So I think that's the first two, that the business model's flawed. They want you to fail. And then the people that are supporting you, the psychology behind that isn't set up the way that it should or could be. And then I think you touched on it at the start, was you don't actually get any support. When you go to a gym, you're not buying change. You're renting the ability to walk into that building and use the equipment that's there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're going to change. Behavior change is such a deep thing that we work hard on inside platform. There's certain things in terms of self-determination theory and the way that humans are motivated. The little touch points that we put in deliberately, because the behavioral psychology research and Dr. Paul Bedford of Equal Intelligence has told us that these things really matter. And then when we've looked at our own data after implementing them things, they actually really do matter. There's lots of touch points within our service where we're deliberately trying to create behavior change. And I think that's where coaching can get commoditized into, you just get a coach that's bury you into the ground. Fuck no. You get a coach, they'll change your life. They'll change the way that you think about training. They'll change the way you think about yourself. They'll change the way you think about life. And a good coach will create behavior change, which means that when you're not with them, when that coach isn't in your presence, your behaviors are different because of the teachings and the challenging that you get from that person.
100%. I was just about to kind of touch on that. Like, our job is to challenge you. Our job is to challenge you to help you become the best person that you can truly be, not challenge you to be able to do an extra 2 to 3 burpees in a session,
Yeah.
to stand there and scream and shout at you. Like, none of that is relevant. It's that day where you come in feeling a little bit deflated, feeling a little bit shitty from work. Every single one of our coaches knows, no matter who is on that gym floor, our goal, regardless of anything else, is to make that the best hour of your day. Every time you come in platform, that's what we want to do. Sometimes that needs a little bit of, maybe you do need a little bit of kick up the ass sometimes, and you need just like, come on, let's get out your headspace. Let's just jump into the session. Let's, get stuck into this boxing session. Let's, just lift some heavy weights today and kind of forget about the world for an hour. It's understanding the clients. It's understanding the people come in. It comes to having a great team as well, because they will share those little pitfalls and those wins. And, X was in on Tuesday and she'd had a really shitty day, but she still come in. She managed to get this session done. She actually hit a PB on her deadlift, which is incredible. I want to give her a shout out next week, so I'll make sure that gets put in the group for everyone. Perfect, done. And it's understanding the client's needs. It's understanding what they need and what they want, but also challenge them at the right time and in the right way, and getting a good coach who can support you through that. Like Marco said, if you're looking in most commercial gyms, you'll struggle to find it. Comes down to a little bit of everything: the foundation, the support when you need it. We've had it numerous times, haven't we, where I get that message like, I'd had a really shitty day, and honestly, like, I can't thank you guys enough. Like, I left feeling like the weight of the world was like lifted off my shoulders when I went out.
I think that starts the second they cross the threshold into the gym.
Yeah.
And it's, all right, you want a cup of tea? And they
How are you? How's your day been?
Sometimes jokingly, they'll be like, oh, could rather have a tequila. Like, yep, we've got tequila. Shot glass out.
Let's get a tequila out.
Yeah, like,
tequila day today.
Yeah.
Which is any day for some of our members, to be honest. But
or like, instead of a cup of tea, do you want a bottle of Bud? Oh, at the end of the session.
Yeah.
So they come in, they have a cup of tea, they have a real good laugh. You can see the stress like melting out of them. They have a real good session. They feel accomplished. They have a little bottle of Budweiser, maybe a slice of pizza, and then they go and enjoy the weekend. And it's like work don't matter anymore.
Yeah. How was your day? Weekend been okay? How did your son get on in his football game on Saturday?
Yeah.
They're the big things, hey, how was your little trip away to the lakes last weekend? How did, your day out go yesterday with your friends? Did you take it a little bit too far like we thought we might? Yeah, cool. Right. Well, let's make sure we sweat a little bit out now. And I think that's it. It's those conversations. It's using names. It's remembering what's going on in their life. It's remembering what's going on with the kids. And they're the kind of really important things that people need. It's that connection as well. Is a huge part of that. You have to be a strong fit. We speak to every single person before they join platform to make sure we can have that connection with them. We can actually help them achieve what they want. If there's a PT that tells you it can help anyone and everyone on the planet, I can assure you he's lying to you, because he can. We know who we work really well with at platform, and I think we do a good job of attracting the right people and then making sure that we bring the right people through the door. But yeah,
it's a fair point. Like you walk in your pure gym, who works there? Who do you speak to? Who do you get help from? They don't exist. And I think the final thing I would say to conclude this one, I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Steve-O, is that every person's journey in platform is different in that it's personalised to them. So one new starter might do X, Y, Z sessions. One person might do 2 sessions, they're both PT sessions.
Yeah.
We do a strategy session, which is designed on let's get you sleeping better.
Yeah.
When we do a lifestyle audit, the next person might go PT, boxing, PT, strong.
Yeah.
Do a strategy session where it's let's get more protein, let's cut your calories down.
Yeah.
Like the whole process is different person to person.
Yeah.
And if you think like if everyone's walking into a pure gym, good luck. As soon as you walk through them doors,
100%.
you can see why it would fail.
Yeah.
Versus what they're going to get when they walk in platform.
There's no one size fits all nutrition plan. There's no one size fits all training plan. Hopefully along the way, you'll find a little bit of a community and friends that train at similar times and days that you do. And sometimes the best session you can do, even if it's not necessarily scientifically the best to get you closest to your goals, is the one that helps you get that connection, have them friendships, keeps you accountable each week. Because if not, Mary's going to be giving you a kick up the ass if you don't turn up at 7 o'clock next Tuesday because you've told her you'll be there. Sometimes it's those sessions, but yeah, it's not. And I think that's why we do sit down, we audit that. We try get people trying different areas of the service as well. And I guess assessing that too. like I said a minute ago, I'm not going to sit here and preach I can help anyone and everyone on the planet, because I can't. That's not who I am. And I'll be honest about that. It's the same when I'm having those conversations. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to come up with a perfect training and nutrition plan from a half an hour conversation, because I ain't. It's not going to happen. And again, if a PT tells you they'll do that, they're talking bollocks. That you need to understand that person and really get a good understanding of their lifestyle. I could give you the perfect scientific training, nutrition plan, everything else. One, then logistically, you like to eat with your family at 6 o'clock. You then have to take that away from your life because you've got to sit there and eat a different meal that's out of Tupperware. So, okay, emotionally now we're suffering, but fitness-wise, yeah, we're doing great. Okay, this training style is just not really working well for me. As much as it's great and it's getting me the results I want, I actually find that a bit fucking boring. All right, maybe we'd be better doing a boxing, but that's not going to get us to our goals quicker. But if we love that fucking boxing session on a Thursday night, we look forward to it, we leave absolutely buzzing, and we're happy to come back and do a PT the next day where we'll push a bit more. Maybe that's the right session for you. So it's really getting that understanding. It's sitting down. It's doing those consults right at the start. It's getting to understand the person, and it's helping them understand we're not aiming for perfect. We're not aiming for perfect straight away. We're aiming for consistency. We're aiming for progress. We're aiming to be 1% better each week. And if we can keep doing that, make amendments, make small changes, we'll get you to where you want to be way quicker than you would if you was following a plan that doesn't align with your life.
And guiding people through the process is as much art as it is science, isn't it?
100%.
Now we've got, for 10 to 14 years of experience each.
Yeah.
We can do a better job of that.
And we've got members here that have been with us for 5, 6, 7 years. And we still, we've changed and grown and learned a lot in that time frame as well. There's definitely things that we teach people now we just physically couldn't have done 6, 7 years ago because we weren't aware of it ourselves. We run different kind of workshops in here. Some of them literally just around mindset, which sometimes we learn things from doing it. But the members take so much now, and they're the things that where they come to and say, do you know what? I can't even tell you like how much that's shifted my mindset and shifted my kind of thought process towards my goals at the moment. And I'm already doing this so much better. I've actually gone away and done this over the weekend, and they just pick things up, and it's great
And
to
that's
see.
behaviour change.
100%.
And that's what we're aiming for.
It is indeed.
And that concludes episode number 3.
Episode number 3, done, brother.
Platform podcast.
I like it.
Do you know, if we get to episode 20, we're in the top 1% of podcasters in the world. Because most people finish.
Let's get them recorded, mate.
There we go. We'll be here for a while. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, and enjoy. Let us know what you think. Drop us a subscribe to the podcast. That's the right thing to say, isn't it, Marco?
Okay,
Is that right?
Like and subscribe.
Look out for that coming on the vlog as well. That'd be funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in episode 4, where we will be talking about
Why the business of fitness is flawed. No, they got that in the wrong order. Why the business of fitness is flawed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I touched on that a little bit today, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll break out into that in a bit more in the next episode. We'll see you there.
Cool. Put there, brother.
Oh, that was a good connection.